To hear this week's full episode as well as these artist picks, make sure to head on over to Spotify today. This is Off the Record, a radio playlist where I help you discover new artists and new music. I'm here with indie, folk, country artist Wilson Teller, who just released his debut EP, Apple Valley. How are you doing today, brother?
I am doing very well, thank you. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. We were just chatting a little bit. How has America been for you? You've been here for a couple of weeks. What's the scene been like?
I love it so much. Yeah, 2 weeks out in Nashville. I'm usually based in London, but I've enjoyed it too much. It's I feel like we have a thing in the UK. We like romanticize American things just from like movies and everything.
Yeah.
So, your roads are massive. Urinals in toilets are really big. I love it. Everything's big.
I love that. Is there like a certain food that you're like, oh, I want to eat that while I'm over there?
Honestly, Mexican food.
Okay.
And I don't know if that's I don't know if that's blasphemy in Nashville, but like in London, in the UK, like it's rare to find good Mexican. So we've been eating lots of tacos, lots of all of that stuff. So that is like the best thing ever in the world. So
have you had a street corn yet?
Say that again.
Have you had a street corn yet?
No, not yet. I don't know if that's. I feel like I need to come to LA for like the good.
Oh yeah,
the good Mexican.
Oh yeah. We're gonna have to plan that out.
100%. Yeah.
My throat is all like, there we go. Okay, here we go. So let's talk a little bit about your musical influences growing up. Not so much like the artists you were discovering, but like who was playing music around you and what do you remember them listening to?
That's an amazing question. I had a pretty crazy sort of mix of stuff playing. So I vividly remember I've got a family of there's 5 of us siblings. So
oh wow,
two older sisters, and they used to play a lot of Mariah Carey. I used to have a lot of Mariah playing, but then also we had like the whole full mix of like the kind of British bands and stuff. So listen to a lot of Cream, listen to a lot of Queen. I remember listening to I used to listen to a lot of Gavin DeGraw.
Okay.
Strangely, like that was thrown in there. And then a whole bunch of stuff. I used to listen to a lot of The Fray, but that was like kind of as I got into like the teenage years. But when we were really young, just a bunch of everything. The Beatles, obviously, that was played a lot in our household. So it's kind of like a little hodgepodge of like every different side of music being played at once.
Yeah.
Which I think has kind of slowly bled itself into my brain, you know. So yeah.
Whenever artists bring up the Beatles, I always love to ask, what is your favorite Beatles track?
Oh, that's so tough. I mean, all of the classics. The thing is with the Beatles, I feel like every Beatles song is like a hit. So
yeah,
but then the cop out is like all of them. But like, I don't know. I used to listen to a lot of Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds.
Okay.
Because my mum's called Lucy, and that was a classic. It was like, oh, you know,
yeah,
just giving it the name like that. But and now I'm just forgetting all Beatles songs ever. Why is my brain just completely blank?
Watch, we're gonna get off this call, and then they're all gonna hit you right.
Yeah, every Beatles song is gonna come to you. I'll be like, damn.
Well, let's talk a little bit about Apple Valley. First off, where does the name come from, and what was it like putting this EP together?
So the name is as a London boy, we don't have very many good sounding names for places. And I wanted to write, it's from the title track called Apple Valley. And I really wanted to write a song about like distance and breakups and people, the kind of feeling of when a breakup happens or like the end of a relationship, but it's dictated by space and like having to be away from someone. And so I really wanted to get like a place or like a thing that was far away from something. And somebody mentioned to me a place, I think it's Apple Valley, California.
There is an Apple Valley, California.
That's the one. So I was like, oh my God, that just sounds like an amazing, do you know what I mean? Like sometimes place names just fit really well in songs, particularly in like phrasings in lyrics. So that just clicked in well. And I was like, this fits perfectly for the vibe of it. And then I just thought that's a really cool EP name. Like I feel like that just sums up the whole thing like a place. So
yeah,
So that's that, and I think the EP came from. It's a completely self-written EP. So for my first EP, I really wanted it to be something that I had worked on bottom up. So completely written myself. I mixed it and produced it myself. I did all the visuals, all the artwork and things like that. So I wanted to keep it very like organic and like, I know what the word is, like hands-on.
Exactly.
To start off everything. So that was kind of that process. And it was a really, really fun, easy. I find it very easy to write when you've got an intention in mind about sort of the tone and the style. And I just had all of these little ideas for things that very easily became songs. So it was a really lovely process writing it, I think. Yeah.
What is something you feel like you learned about yourself in this process?
That's a good question. I learned a lot about trusting myself with melodies, specifically writing, trusting myself with ideas, with things, because I've been writing songs for years and releasing under different side sort of projects and names, and writing for other people. And I think it's a different thing when you specifically write solo for yourself.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of that was like learning to trust that like this is good. I like what I'm writing, and so other people will like it, and not second guessing too much. That was something I definitely had to teach myself over the course of doing a full EP. So I mean, I feel like I'll never fully get there, but you know, working on that self-trust with it is definitely a thing for sure.
I always love asking this question. Is there a certain lyric or line from the song that you come back or from the EP that you come back to often?
Oh, honestly, all lyrics have gone out of my brain right now. There's a lyric in the title track, Apple Valley, which is it's I hope the silence no, it's an hour 25 out to the city. If you ever need reminding of my name, I hope the silence in the valley is lovely somewhere. No, sorry, I completely screwed that. It's an hour 25 out to the city. If you ever need reminding of the pain, I hope the silence in the valley is lovely somewhere you don't ever have to hear my name. That felt like a nice, I don't know, it kind of sums up that song for me. The idea of like, you know, people being attached to places, and like if you were to ever come back into the city where I am, is it going to immediately bring back that thing, and vice versa, like you having your own separate thing in the valley. So yeah, that's a good one for me, I think.
What are you hoping audiences take away from the EP?
I hope they just, I don't know, I feel like with all of the songs I've written in the past anyway, and for other people and things, I'm a very emotional storyteller without sounding too big-headed. So I think I hope they take away or manage to tap into that kind of each world of the song, without, you know, hopefully they don't relate too hard. There's some sad stuff on it, but I hope they take something from it that shows them a little bit of a, oh yeah, I know what that's like. So yeah.
I love that. Well, it's time for my favorite question. I asked you to bring 3 songs from 3 other artists.
Absolutely, yeah.
Feel free to elaborate a little bit on why you chose all of these.
Okay, I've got 3 good ones. Imagine if I just didn't, and I was just like, these are all awful. So the first one is a song by a friend of mine. His artist project is The Man, the Myth, the Meat Slab. It is a song called Lake Run Drive. I just think it's amazing. It's just such an incredible like tone and atmosphere. It's like indie folk, kind of rough around the edges, Bon Iver-y, but also like it's really cool. And he recorded a lot of his stuff with like one microphone. It's just a really, really lovely sort of, I don't know, play it in the car and shut all the windows and it's like nighttime sort of vibe. Amazing song, incredible songwriter. The second song I have is a song called Home by a friend of mine called Jennifer Stewart, who I'm actually out here writing with at the moment.
Oh, that's so cool.
It's a song that I wrote on with her, so I am a little bit biased, but it's amazing. She's got the most incredible voice, and like insane songwriter, and it's just a really cozy, sad song about, you know, home being a different place to you now as you grow up, and you know, the difficulty that comes with like thinking thinking it meant something to you, and then it kind of changing the way it means something to you. So that's a lovely song. It's got also amazing just acoustic guitars throughout. So nice.
Yeah.
And then the third song I've got is a song. He doesn't need any hyping anymore. He's definitely doing it. But a guy called Medium Build.
Yeah.
The song is crying over you. So good. So good. I feel like as a songwriter, whenever I need lyric inspiration, I go to Medium Build, and I'm like, I just sit back and I'm like, okay, yeah, you've nailed everything you've done. So
That's so cool.
that's the third one for me. A good trifecta there of good music for sure.
What a solid lineup. Well, thank you so much for coming, for chatting with me. Again, congrats on the EP,
Thank you
Apple
so much.
Valley. It's out now. And I hope everybody enjoys my favorite track on it. Here's Adeline. This is Off the Record, a radio playlist where I help you discover new artists and music. I'm sitting here with Piatt, who's an indie rock artist, but I believe there's more genres in there when we really get into it. He just released his newest album, IDK, that just came out this past Friday. Piatt, how are you doing today?
I'm doing fantastic. Isaiah, it's so great to be here with you. Thank you so much for having me on the show. I'm super excited just to talk for a little bit about this album and get into the nitty gritty.
I'm excited to get into, like you said, the nitty gritty. But before we dive into that, I want to know, I always start by asking this question. Who were your musical influences growing up? Not so much the artists you were discovering, but who was playing music around you and what do you remember them playing?
Yeah, totally. So I think for me growing up, it was definitely my mom and dad sort of deciding, what we were listening to, my brother and I, because my brother's also a musician. So we both grew up alongside each other playing classical violin.
Okay.
That was kind of like what started the musical journey. 4 years old, both in the Suzuki method, which is just like a specific like pedagogy for violin.
Yeah.
And so kind of grew up playing and listening to a lot of classical music. I think mostly like the Romantic era, so like Paganini and like Max Ernst, like The Last Rose of Summer is such a beautiful piece by Max Ernst. I've always loved like Midori Goto's performance of that.
Yeah.
And so I've been listening to that kind of stuff since I've, been a very small child. A lot of Mozart, a lot of Beethoven, and just like learning the pieces as well. And then that being said, on the flip side, that, when like iPods became a thing, my, family got me one for Christmas, the tiny little shuffle. I still have it over here. And like my dad just loaded it with like, Led Zeppelin and Stevie Ray Vaughan and Pearl Jam and 38 Special and REM and Tom Petty. And, those influences have stuck around for years and years and years. And it's fun to see how like, I might depart from them for a little bit, but I'm always coming back around. I'm always coming back around because I feel like a lot of those artists, their whole entire catalog, you can just keep dipping back in for inspiration and ideas, especially when you have it rooted so much like within your childhood and your family dynamic. And so that was kind of my dad, how he influenced me. And then my mom, she always had, like the Bluetooth speaker in the kitchen, and she was playing like Michael Jackson and Donna Summer and like Cher and doing more kind of like 80s disco dance stuff. So it was it was definitely a contrast from what, I was listening to, like, with like my dad and stuff like that. And then, I'd go and kind of have that sort of musical experience with my mom as well. And then, growing up alongside with my brother, him playing music as well, we were learning a lot of the same stuff, listening to a lot of the same stuff, having a lot of similar musical experiences. He's older than me, so it was, we were having up the same age, but, he'd have him a few years before I would. And, having someone to look up to, during those formative years too, and kind of motivate and drive was important for sure.
Does your brother still make music to this day, and did he like collaborate on the album in any way?
He still makes music from time to time. His main thing is he's a cinematographer and director in LA, so you guys might be neighbors. But he's been there for about, I think it's maybe going to be close to like 10 years here soon. he's like disgusting. His work is so great. It's actually like unbelievable. He's done some incredible stuff. He shot some stuff for I think like international publication of GQ. He's done stuff with Travis Scott, a lot of Nike, a lot of Adidas stuff.
That's awesome.
So he's fantastic. Having he's still a creative, which is great. So having him, to be able to kind of bounce ideas off of, and he took the album photo. And so we came up with that together. I flew to LA and we spent a whole day shooting content for the first single and then making that whole album cover. It was pretty fun to collaborate.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, let's talk a little bit about the album. I jotted down some genres that I heard when listening because I'm like, this album is so universal. It's truly genre blending. This is what I jotted down. I said rock, funk, dirty grit, country, a little bit of reggae, musical theater, a bossa nova. Like, truthfully, I felt like I was listening to, I don't know if you're familiar with the musical Godspell, but it was like that kind of world in a sense of like each song was its own universe, which was so fun to listen to. Do you mind diving into a little bit of how you worked that together?
Of course. That's so interesting. I mean, I feel very aware of this album being like just so stylistically diverse with each song. Like each one has such a unique fingerprint. I feel like they could all work with a separate persona, separate artist, separate everything. I mean, that's why I sort of had the concept of, the album cover being, like 5 different versions of myself. And, each of the 4 versions that are kind of in the corners, those correspond to the singles that I released, throughout the year.
Yeah.
And I think it's like, for me, feeling like I've just come from such a diverse background of training and experience with music, I feel like the most accurate representation of myself is to kind of showcase them all, in some kind of cohesive project and way. I think when it came to actually like deciding the songs that I felt worked, I don't really know if I was deliberating on any song choice of whether or not to include it on this project, because I think these 10 songs felt so just right.
They
just felt right to me. And it felt like the most accurate representation of myself. And then presenting it as IDK, it's like I'm just doing what I'm doing kind of attitude. To put it bluntly, I guess.
Were there any songs that didn't make the cut?
There were, definitely. And there's songs that, didn't make the cut because it's just not their time yet.
Yeah.
It's not the specific tone of the project.
Yeah.
I think the songs that didn't make the cut are very similar to each other. So I think with future projects, probably next project, songs will be a little more aligned in a certain way, unless maybe pulling from all these different directions.
Yeah. Is there a certain like lyric or line that you often come back to that is a part of this album?
Love will always speak.
Ooh, that's good.
I do think that's like pretty much what the album is about. I think love is such a great thing to write about.
Yeah.
I saw Gregory Porter in concert, Carnegie Hall, on Valentine's night. I brought my lovely girlfriend, and his whole mantra is love, and he preaches love. I mean, he's an absolutely astonishingly talented artist, and he continues to go back and dip into the bucket of love for inspiration. And each album is I just feel like it's a masterpiece. And I feel like with the overflowing amount of love I have in my life, I truly find myself going back to it time and again for inspiration and connection. Um, and it always feels truthful.
Yeah.
It always feels exactly truthful and honest, which I think is what people can hear and will distinct a good song from a great song.
That's awesome.
Mm.
What are you hoping audiences take away after listening to this album? It's kind of similar to along the lines you were just talking about, but
I think what I want them to take away is that, you know, when it comes to music, there's a space for everything.
Mhm.
You know, a bossa nova number can be alongside, you know, kind of like a gritty, dark, you know, country twang, you know, rockin' song. It may feel like what, but I think if you put forth the intention of it being as honest and truthful, I think it actually will work out. Like it'll work itself out. So having an album that is so diverse stylistically, I think I just want people, I want to encourage people to listen to different kinds of music. I want them to know that there's actually a place in maybe every single genre of music for everyone. I I have found that to be the case in just my life, that I think I can listen to any genre of music and I can find an artist or a you know, a certain kind of subculture of it that I'm like, whoa, that's actually great. Like I hear this in my music here. That's crazy. Like that's what gets me going about music is when
Yeah.
I find, you know, when I see myself in others, and there's no way of knowing if we'd ever once connected before, but through music, we're forever connected in that way.
Mhm.
It's super special, and it only happens through music. And I just think music can fully embody that too.
Yeah. That's
Truly.
great. Well, it's
And
time for my favorite. Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
oh, I was gonna say, and like, you know, maybe more of the tongue in cheek with IDK. No one knows what's going on, so do what you want. Really.
Well, it's time for my favorite question. I asked you to bring 3 songs from 3 other artists, and feel free to elaborate a little bit on why you chose these.
Perfect. All right. So I thought about this a lot. I was like, wait, I wanna really take my time with this. So my first song is called Cherry Pick by Ruby Plume. I saw her come up on TikTok and she was just playing this song, Cherry Pick, like acoustic guitar with her late at night, like looked like she was in the middle of a writing session. And the lyrics, I could just see the whole picture. I saw everything. Um, I think that's so unbelievably potent when you're listening to a song, even just, you know, 1 or 2 lyrics in, you have a visual in your mind. I think songs that kickstart our imagination are just like, those are the best kinds of songs.
Yeah.
I think the older we get, the little, you know, the more we start to lose our imagination and sense of, you know, maybe childlike wonder.
Hmm.
And music is a great way for me to hold on to that and keep that going in my life. So I love that, you know, her song did that. And it's sad, it's about a breakup, but it's also like about like staying and devoted and loyal, and like it just, it's so real to me.
Yeah.
I love that. I get so amped up about that. So Ruby Plume, shout out, you rock. And then my next song is Won't Back Down by Tom Petty.
Great song.
I think it's a perfect song. I think it's perfectly written, constructed, everything down to even the way that they recorded it, the studio they recorded it. Every choice they made in that song is so unbelievably intentional. It's just a masterpiece of a song, truly. I think a lot of Tom Petty is so good. There's some stuff that I don't like as much, but when it comes to this song, I think I really confidently say that like it's one of the best songs ever made. I mean,
Yeah.
even just how they mixed it, and the mixing and the mastering of it is unbelievable. And you know, Tom Petty wrote it after like I think somebody vandalized like his car and like spray painted his car. And I think he was just so pissed off and overcome with emotion that he just had to write this song. Just like, I won't back down. Like, I'm gonna stand my ground and I'm gonna like hold myself as a human being right here. It's so inspirational, truly. I love it. Yeah. And then my third song is called Pin Up Daddy by Rhett Madison, and it's featuring Katie Pruitt. This song came up on my Spotify suggested because I was listening to Katie Pruitt, who is a singer-songwriter. I believe she's based out of Nashville.
Okay.
She's unbelievable. Queer artist, ridiculous, filthily talented. And this song came up, and I think, Rhett and Katie are both talking about their experiences as, queer women and being lesbian women growing up and, figuring out how to express themselves. And I'm listening to this song, for the first time, and it was wild to me how much I felt like I related in a lot of ways to their feelings. I don't identify as queer though, which I thought was the most interesting part, is that, this person's experience is resonating so much for me. I feel so much, support. I feel so like seen in a way as well in my own experience. And, even, just speaking as well as the song being fantastic and the mixing and the mastering and the recording of it is beautiful. They kill it together. They sound so good. It was a moment for me that felt, so potent, especially in times, where I might have experiences in my life with, let's even say like, family members who might not think the same way or see things in a similar way. It's really important to have like a piece of art like that to go back to and to listen to and understand that journey of, that person. And it's super important to support queer artists as well.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
100%.
Well,
making killer art.
yeah, literally. Well, that's a great little lineup. I'm excited to listen to those.
Yeah, totally.
Well, Piatt, thank you so much for coming, for chatting with me. Congrats again on IDK, which just released this Friday. And I hope everybody enjoys my favorite track on the album, Always Speak.